young and the restless spoilers. Kyle had always placed his trust in Claire, believing that her keen insight and determination could serve as an asset in the ongoing battles that defined Genoa City's power struggles. Time and again he had cautioned her, saying, "Never interfere in Victor's war. If you do, you'll only end up as a victim." His warnings, filled with both protective care and a deep-rooted understanding of the brutal nature of their world, were meant to steer her clear of a treacherous path. Yet, driven by an insatiable hunger for power and wealth, Claire chose to ignore his counsel. Her ambition had grown into a force all its own, clouding her judgment with greed and leaving Kyle to wonder if he had misjudged her entirely. Late one evening, Kyle set out to find Claire at her private apartment, a place that, in recent months, had become the stage for secretive meetings and whispered alliances. As he approached the building, a foreboding feeling tugged at him. He lingered outside the door, unsure whether to confront her immediately or wait until he could understand what had transpired behind those closed walls. Fate, however, had other plans. Unbeknownst to Claire, the night would unveil a truth that would forever alter Kyle's perception of her. Standing just outside her apartment, Kyle's ears caught fragments of a conversation that froze his heart in its tracks. Inside, voices mingled in heated tones, and one voice in particular resonated with unmistakable authority. It was Victor's. The patriarch's rich, confident tones filled the room, and as Kyle strained to listen, he realized that Victor was not there by accident. He was a guest, and more importantly, he was elated. Victor's words painted a vivid picture of triumph and cunning success. He praised Claire for gathering damning documents and crucial evidence against Jabot, a rival whose machinations had long been a thorn in his side. Every piece of evidence was described in glowing terms, as if it were the linchpin in a masterful strategy to dismantle Jabot's empire once and for all. For Victor, the evidence was not just a tool of vengeance. It was a key to unlocking a future where his family's dominance would be uncontested. And yet, for Kyle, the sound of Victor's praise did not kindle hope or pride. Instead, it ignited a bitter realization. Claire, the person he once trusted, had aligned herself with forces that he had always warned her against. Hidden in the shadows, Kyle's mind raced as he absorbed every word. In that clandestine moment, he recognized a painful truth. He had lost Claire forever. The woman he had once considered an ally, a friend, and perhaps something more, was now irrevocably changed. Her greed had taken hold, and the consequences of her actions were now glaringly obvious. With each word Victor spoke about the incriminating evidence and the strategic advantage it would bring, Kyle's heart hardened. From that moment on, he resolved that Claire would no longer be seen as a trusted confidant but as an enemy, a traitor whose betrayal could never be forgiven. Yet, despite the torrent of anger surging within him, Kyle was a man of principle. He knew that succumbing to physical violence or rash retribution would only tarnish his honor. "I'm not one to stoop to impulsive attacks," he thought, his inner voice firm and resolute. Instead, he channeled his frustration into a silent determination to regroup and protect what he held dear. The battle lines in Genoa City were shifting once again, and though he could not erase the betrayal, he vowed to ensure that his next move would safeguard the future of his family. In the wake of Claire's defection, a new possibility began to emerge, a possibility that intertwined both hope and caution. Summer, whose gentle spirit and steadfast loyalty had long been admired by Kyle, now seemed to be the beacon guiding him forward. However, this emerging relationship came with its own set of complications. Summer was not only an independent soul who had weathered her own storms, but she was also Victor's granddaughter. Her lineage, a constant reminder of the formidable legacy and intricate loyalties that permeated Genoa City, meant that any romantic entanglement carried inherent risks. Kyle knew that aligning himself with Summer would be a calculated risk. It would demand the utmost care, and he would have to navigate the treacherous waters of family politics with even greater precision. As dawn approached over the city, the weight of the evening's revelations pressed heavily on Kyle's heart. The betrayal by Claire, a betrayal that had shattered the trust he once placed so freely, left an indelible scar. He could no longer see her as a partner in his struggles, and the man he once knew was now reduced to a symbol of deceit and avarice. The memory of her smiling face, once a source of comfort, had transformed into a bitter reminder of what had been lost. Kyle's resolve hardened further as he contemplated the path ahead. He would not let personal grief cloud his judgment. Instead, he would focus on fortifying his position and ensuring that his family's honor remained intact. Meanwhile, across town, Jack had grown increasingly frustrated with the incessant distractions that romance seemed to inflict upon the family business. His son, immersed in the shifting allegiances and tumultuous emotions of these times, was expected to remain laser-focused on the tasks that lay ahead. "Love can wait," Jack often insisted, a mantra born from years of witnessing how personal entanglements could derail even the most well-laid plans. Jack's call for seriousness was a plea for stability, a reminder that in the cutthroat world of power and legacy, emotions could be a dangerous liability. In the midst of these unfolding dramas, Kyle's inner monologue echoed with the pain of lost trust and the uncertainty of what the future held. The betrayal by Claire was not merely a personal wound, it was a fracture in the intricate network of alliances and loyalties that sustained Genoa City. Yet, even as he grappled with the fallout of that betrayal, a small spark of determination flickered within him. He knew that the battle against Jabot was far from over and that every strategic advantage, even if born of treachery, could tip the scales in his favor. Now, with Claire firmly cast as an enemy in his eyes, Kyle faced the difficult task of redefining his alliances. Summer's gentle eyes and earnest heart offered him a glimpse of hope, a chance to rebuild something genuine amidst the ever-present chaos. But even as he contemplated the possibility of a future with her, he remained vigilant. The stakes were high, and in a world where loyalty was as fragile as glass, every decision carried the potential to either heal old wounds or create new ones. As the morning light bathed Genoa City in a fragile glow, Kyle stepped away from the cold realization of betrayal and toward an uncertain future. With each measured step, he carried the weight of his decisions, the loss of trust in Claire, the complicated allure of Summer, and the relentless pressure to uphold the family honor that had defined his existence. He would not allow anger to dictate his actions. Instead, he would channel it into a steadfast commitment to his values, even if it meant redefining what love and loyalty truly meant. In this new chapter of Genoa City's saga, the lines between friend and foe had become irrevocably blurred. For Kyle, the road ahead was fraught with challenges, a journey that demanded not only strength and wisdom but also the courage to forgive himself for the mistakes of the past. With the echoes of Victor's praises for Claire's betrayal still ringing in his ears, he vowed to protect his family's legacy at all costs, even if that meant letting go of the past and embracing an uncertain future with Summer by his side. Yet, deep within him, a lingering question remained. Could true trust ever be restored in a world where every alliance was tested by ambition and greed? Only time would tell if Kyle's next steps would lead to redemption or further heartbreak. As the battle for power and love in Genoa City raged on, relentless and unforgiving. In the intricate tapestry of power struggles that define Genoa City, loyalty is a rare and fragile commodity. For Kyle, the revelation of betrayal stings with an intensity that threatens to upend everything he has fought for. Late one fateful night, while the city slumbered under a deceptive calm, Kyle found himself standing outside Claire's apartment. His heart pounded with apprehension, and fate conspired to reveal a secret that would forever change the dynamics of trust and allegiance. Unbeknownst to him, fate had chosen that very moment for the truth to be laid bare. Hidden in the shadows, Kyle eavesdropped on a conversation taking place inside Claire's private quarters. The voices that floated through the thin walls were unmistakable. Among them, the authoritative tone of Victor, whose presence always signified both promise and peril. As Kyle strained to catch every word, a devastating realization began to take shape. Claire, whom he had once trusted implicitly, was conspiring with Victor, gathering evidence against Jabot with a fervor that bordered on fanaticism. Victor's praise for the incriminating documents echoed in the room, and with every word, Kyle felt the foundation of his belief in Claire crumble. By the time Claire discovered that her secret was exposed, it was too late. With a cold clarity that left no room for remorse, she declared that she had always known the cost of her ambition. In her eyes, regret was an emotion reserved for the weak, and she embraced the label of traitor without hesitation. "I am who I am, a betrayer, a traitor," she proclaimed, her voice steady and unrepentant. To her, the path to power was paved with choices that left no room for second chances. The revelation was as stark as it was irrevocable. Claire had made her decision, and there was no turning back. For Kyle, the truth was a bitter pill to swallow. The woman he had trusted, the one whose eyes he once saw as a mirror of his own ambition and loyalty, was now an enemy. The pain of betrayal was compounded by the knowledge that he had listened in on the very conversation that sealed her fate. The shock of the discovery left him reeling, but he was no stranger to the harsh realities of life in Genoa City. He accepted the truth with a heavy heart and a steely resolve, knowing that personal feelings must yield to the greater duty of protecting his family's legacy. As the news of Claire's treachery spread, another figure was thrown into turmoil: Summer. A steadfast soul with an unwavering commitment to the Abbott family, Summer had long warned Kyle of the dangers that lay in trusting someone like Claire. Her warnings, dismissed by Kyle in moments of misplaced hope, now rang painfully true. Furious and heartbroken, Summer was incensed by the betrayal. "I warned you, Kyle," she exclaimed in a voice laced with both anger and sorrow. "I knew she could never be trusted." For Summer, loyalty to the Abbott family was paramount, a value so deeply ingrained in her that she had always vowed to remain on the sidelines of any internal war. Yet, now that the stakes had escalated, she found herself forced into action. Determined to help Kyle reclaim control of his destiny, Summer made a decisive move. Recognizing that Kyle's focus must remain on the impending battle against Jabot and the lingering threat of family treachery, she offered to shoulder some of his burdens. "Let me take care of Harrison," she insisted, referring to the young heir whose future was entwined with the legacy of their family. "You need to concentrate on the fight ahead." Summer's unwavering support provided Kyle not only with a reprieve from the chaos but also with a renewed sense of purpose. Her presence was a reminder that, despite the betrayals and shifting allegiances, there remained a core of loyalty that could serve as an anchor in the storm. Meanwhile, the fallout from Claire's actions reverberated through the corridors of power. Her alignment with Victor, once seen as a calculated risk, had now branded her an enemy of Jabot, a move that further isolated her from any semblance of trust or redemption. In a swift and final act of severance, Claire broke off her relationship with Kyle. The breakup was not marked by tears or pleas for forgiveness. It was a cold, clinical disassociation, a severance of ties that had once bound two ambitious souls together. For Kyle, the end of their liaison was as painful as it was inevitable. The trust that had once defined their relationship was now irreparably shattered, and any remnants of affection were consumed by the bitter taste of betrayal. As Kyle grappled with the dual loss of both his once trusted partner and the illusion of shared dreams, he faced the brutal reality of the world he inhabited. In Genoa City, personal emotions were a luxury that one could ill afford. The battle for power, for family honor, was relentless and unforgiving. Every alliance was a calculated risk, every relationship a potential threat. And so, with a heavy heart yet unwavering determination, Kyle resolved to forge ahead. The war against Jabot was far from over, and despite the personal losses, the stakes demanded his full attention. In the midst of the swirling chaos, Kyle's choice became clear. With Claire now cast as an enemy and a painful chapter closed, he turned his gaze toward the future. Summer, with her steadfast loyalty and protective instincts, emerged as his new anchor, a symbol of hope in a world tarnished by deceit. Their bond, forged in the crucible of betrayal and hardship, promised a different kind of strength, one rooted not in ambition, but in the unyielding commitment to family values. Together, they would navigate the treacherous waters of Genoa City, protecting their legacy at all costs and ensuring that the mistakes of the past did not dictate the future. The unfolding drama was a testament to the brutal reality of life in Genoa City, a place where every whisper, every overheard conversation, could change the course of destinies. Kyle's experience that fateful night underscored a timeless truth. In a world driven by ambition and power, trust is both the most precious and the most perilous of commodities. As the city awoke to a new day, Kyle, with Summer by his side, prepared to confront the challenges ahead. The scars of betrayal would fade only with the passage of time, but the lessons learned would forever shape the man he had become. In the end, as alliances shifted and the battle lines were redrawn, one thing remained constant: the unyielding resolve to protect what was sacred. For Kyle and the Abbott family, it was not just a fight against external foes, but an internal struggle to reclaim their honor and secure a future free from the shadows of betrayal. And while Claire's treachery would forever mark her as an outcast, it also served as a stark reminder that in Genoa City, The price of loyalty was often paid in the currency of broken hearts and shattered dreams.